Hey gamers, welcome to Chug N Play, where we make craft cocktails inspired by video games and anime.
I'm JT, and this is
Erica, also known as Neon, whichever works.
We're going to be making you two cocktails based off the games that inspired us into a lifelong passion for gaming.
Yes, we're super excited about it. My video game is going to be the first one I ever played, which was Half-Life. I'm sure that's a huge one for a lot of PC gamers out there, as it was like one of the first like really big.
Yeah.
Was it Valve's first game, or?
It wasn't their first game, but it's the first in a trilogy of really great games.
Yeah, either way, it's a huge staple in a lot of people's collections. And yeah, it holds a special place in my heart. I used to play that with my brother all the time. He'd chase me around with a crowbar and terrorize me, which all big brothers should do at some point in their lives. Isn't that right?
In the game, right?
Yeah, in the game, totally.
Fun fact about Half-Life, it's either Half-Life 1 or 2, I think it might have been the first one, but it was a pioneer of ragdoll physics, which weren't a thing at the time.
Yes!
Which means when you shoot someone, instead of a death animation, the impact of the bullet will, yeah, they
like
crumple.
Splurt and, yeah. Good times. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Today we're gonna make the Resonance Cascade Punch, reminiscent of Half-Life.
Ooh, what's in that?
So glad you asked. Let's get into it.
No, cut, I'm done, no. Kill the thief.
All right, guys, so today we're gonna make a clarified Negroni milk punch, which I know it sounds super scary, but it's really not that bad. It does take a little bit of time to make, but it's gonna be worth it in the end, trust me. So for a Negroni, the three basic ingredients are gonna be a gin, dry vermouth, and Campari. But obviously we have to spice it up a little bit, so I'm gonna be adding some Italicus, which is right here. This is a bergamot liqueur. Bergamot is something like a citrusy orange ? Flavor. It's really, really lovely. It's gonna pair really well with Campari and the citrus gin that we're using. Dry vermouth, Italicus, and Campari. So let's get started. We're gonna start with, one of the main ingredients I forgot to mention was green tea. So I'm really playing into that bitterness that we're gonna get from all these flavors combined. Don't worry though, it will be balanced. In the end, there's a second part to this cocktail where we're gonna be doing some foam on top that's really gonna balance it. But yeah, we're gonna start. I have half a cup of green tea right here. I did use 3 tea bags because I really wanted that green tea flavor to shine. 4 ounces of gin. Oh, and I did forget to mention, guys, this is a batch. So if you follow the recipe to a T, you should be getting at least 4 cocktails out of this. 1 ounce of dry vermouth, 1 ounce of Italicus, and 1 ounce of Campari. If you're really not a fan of Campari, feel free to drop this to a ½ ounce. I did do a batch with just a ½ ounce of Campari. It was good, it just tasted a little watered down in my opinion. The full ounce gives it more of a grapefruity flavor. So feel free to edit as you know your flavor profile, your tongue profile.
Your preferences?
Your preferences. That. Half of an orange zest. Orange zest ASMR.
Real-time orange zest. Zest it closer to the mic.
And then we're gonna juice a full lemon into this. Basically, we're going to use the acid from the lemon to curdle with the milk over about an hour or so it'll curdle, and then we're gonna strain that out. But it is very necessary to have an acid component to make this milk punch work. All right. And make sure, again, that you're using fresh lemon, not like store-bought bottled lemon. It does make a difference. All right, and once we have that ready, we're ready to add our milk. To theory, you are supposed to be pouring the concoction over the milk. I don't think it matters. I've tried it a few different ways. Personally, I don't think it matters, but I'm sure somebody will yell at me in the comments that I did this whole process wrong. But we're gonna be adding 6 ounces of whole milk to this. Should be whole milk. If you have 2%, that's fine. Maybe throw in like a touch of heavy cream to offset that, but yeah, whole milk is the best. And there we have it. This has to sit for about an hour. and then we'll strain it out. So yeah, in the meantime, we're gonna get onto JT's drink. So yeah, catch you guys here in a bit.
All right, guys. This cocktail is Resident Evil inspired, specifically Resident Evil 2 for the original PlayStation. It wasn't the first game I ever played, but it was the first game to get me completely enamored with the franchise. I've been a fan of the Resident Evil franchise even through Resident Evil 5 and 6. They were troubling times, but just that inner kid within me persevered throughout all of it. Resident Evil 2 was a really fun game for me because it was actually 2 separate discs on the PlayStation. Side A, you played as either Leon or Claire, and you ran through all that, and then, on that memory card, you put in the second disc, which is a completely different configuration and map layout for the character that you didn't play on the first game. This also added a character who wasn't present in the first game, which was Mr. X. Mr. X is a sort of pioneer for the now ubiquitous pursuer type enemies in video games. And let me tell you, the first time as a little kid that I was just trotting through an area that I had previously cleared, there was nothing in there. I felt completely safe and secure. And bam! A wall comes down, and this big man in a trench coat and a hat comes busting through, menacingly lumbering towards me. I nearly shit myself. It was terrifying, but it only made me love the game more. This has persisted through a lot of the games with Nemesis and Jack Baker in Resident Evil 3 and 7 respectively. I'm sure there's others, but this was the one. The drink is called, in honor of Mr. X, X gon' give it to you. Him smashing through walls was such a big thing for me. What I'm going to make is a smash style cocktail. And for that, the first thing you're going to need is citrus. You're going to take your lemon and divide it into 3 lemon wedges with a sharp knife, unlike the knife I have right now, and drop it in your tin. For this drink, I'm going to be using a few raspberries. I'd say about 5 or a small handful, whichever you prefer, depends on your preference in raspberries. And then I'm going to set one aside for later. Once we have that, I'm going to take our muddler and get this all worked in. Egg down. All right, once we've got all that fruit in there, we're going to get our muddler and muddle it all together. Now, the reason for this is instead of just pouring in lemon juice, we want to muddle the rinds and the skin of the lemon. That's going to express a lot more oils than if we just got the pure juice. Once we've got all that done, it's time for the booze. This is actually going to be a split base cocktail with Averno Amaro as well as some Havana Club 7-year aged rum. We're going to need 1 ounce of each of these. So this Averno right here is an Amaro, which is a bitter Italian herbal liqueur. And what that's going to do is sort of really mellow out the drink and give it a lot of character. And then after that, 1 ounce of our delicious Havana Club rum. A family favorite. Once we've got all that in, it's going to be up to ½ ounce of simple syrup. And then I might have misled you all just a tiny bit. It's not just a smash, it's also a sour. And what we're going to be doing for the sour is taking the whites of an egg and separating those. There. I have another egg.
You just suck at life.
And what that does is it gives you a really silky, velvety finish over everything. Once you've got your egg white and all your cocktail ingredients, we're going to give it a dry shake, then a wet shake. The dry shake is going to take one of these little guys. That is the spring that goes in a strainer like this. Drop it right in, and that's to sort of agitate all the ingredients. And once you've got that all shaken up, you're going to take your ice and add that in as well. The wet shake, dry shake technique is really all about getting the optimal amount of froth on top of everything. All right, you're going to take your hoop glass, or any other glass for that matter, and double strain it right over the top. Remember, we have raspberries in here, and those little particulates are really going to want to slip through this first sieve. Look at that beautiful foam. And now the garnish. We're going to take a little bit of midori in our pipette here and give it a real T-virus zombified dribble on top. Zombified. For good measure, use the pipette as a garnish. Finally, that raspberry we had earlier, that's going to get smushed up and garnished. Just a little blood and viscera, guts hanging out on the desecrated streets of the Raccoon City and its police station. And there you have it. X won't give it to you. So the first thing about this drink is it is incredibly citrus forward. The lemon really shines here, but you also get the nice fresh red berry tartness of the raspberries. That'd all be a bit too much on its own. So this Amaro specifically, as well as the booziness from the rum, really helps to bring it down from that sort of high elevated level. The drink in and of itself, incredibly drinkable, really approachable, something I think most people who enjoy cocktails would definitely enjoy. The midori on top is almost imperceptible, but there is a little bit of just nice easygoing melon on the foam, as well as some chunks of raspberry if you're feeling the urge to consume flesh. I wanted to make this drink nice and good vibes all around because that's what the series has for me. I wanted to give that to all of you. I'm gonna go off camera and drink this while Erica comes back and shows you how to assemble that resonance cascade.
All right, welcome back, gamers. So now we have our disgusting looking curdled drink concoction in here, but don't worry, it's gonna get very tasty here in a bit. So what you're gonna need is another separate vessel, a strainer, and a coffee filter. We're gonna get all those curds out. It does take a minute to separate in here. You do have to be patient though. So we're just gonna pour that straight in. Go, you don't wanna like stir it or mush it down or anything like that. Just let the magic happen. Science. The first little bit that comes out may be a tad cloudy. If it is, feel free to remove the vessel here and then pour that back in. I'm not going to because I'm lazy. So while that's straining, we're gonna go ahead and make the cocktail. I do have a separate batch that I made earlier today, so we're gonna go ahead and use that. All right, so you're gonna wanna grab a glass of ice, and once you have your separate mixture, we're gonna pour 3 ounces into our glass here. And then we're gonna give it a good stir to just chill that liquid down. Strain that into your glass here. I don't have a strainer on hand. We're gonna work with what we have. So for the topping in a separate glass, we're gonna do an egg white, similar to the technique that JT did in his cocktail. However, we're not shaking it. We're just gonna whisk it really hard and use it as a topper on our drink. And a splash of midori. This is really gonna bring some like sweetness and life back to this cocktail because it is very bitter. It's got gin, it's got CAMPARI in it. It's suffering right now. It needs something. And then this, we're just gonna do a little splash of that. It's a little yellow liqueur. It's Italian, called liqueur Stregga. It's similar to a yellow chartreuse, very herbaceous and delicious. And then I'm using a milk frother. If you don't have a milk frother, feel free to just give this a good dry shake. I'm using the same technique that was in JT's, but this is gonna make it beautiful. We're just going to gently layer this on top of our cocktail here. And this drink would not be complete without our crystal. And there you have it, gamers, the Resonance Cascade Punch. Cheers. That is good. You're getting the bitterness from the CAMPARI. It's almost like a grapefruity, like orange peel, but it's so well balanced by these 2 toppers on here. If you don't like gin, I still highly encourage you to try this clarification process because it really just makes it such an easy drink to have. And it's just so smooth. You still get those green tea notes. It's a beautiful drink, y'all. Well, cheers, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
Feel free to like and subscribe if you want more alcohol content. We plan on doing so much more. But yeah, we're just a couple of nerds trying to get our drink on.
Feel free, please, if you have any game suggestions, or I think the Mario Kart booze, the drinking and the driving really pale well together, so...
Hey, that's a drinking game.
Mario Kart. Let's go. Hey, this drink sucks.